William Carter stood tall as the chamber doors closed behind him. The last human ambassador to the Galactic Council adjusted his uniform and took a deep breath. This was it. After 7 years of representing Earth, he was being kicked out. "Ambassador Carter, you must surrender your credentials," said the blue-skinned security officer. Her 4 eyes blinked in sequence as she held out a datapad. William handed over his diplomatic badge. The small metal pin had been his pride for years. Now it felt heavy in his palm. "The Council's decision is final," said the officer. "All humans are banned from Proxima Station. You have 6 hours to gather your belongings." William nodded. There was no point arguing. The vote had been 17-0 against Earth. Not a single ally had stood with humanity. Inside the chamber, Chancellor Zix Vorn was still speaking. The broadcast played on screens throughout the station. "The evidence is clear," the Chancellor said. "Humans are too aggressive, too unpredictable to join galactic society. Their wars, their violence, their constant need to push boundaries threatens us all." William walked away from the screens. He had heard it all before. For months, the Council had built their case against Earth. Primitive aggression, they called it. But William knew better. The aliens feared human adaptability. Humans learned too quickly, advanced too fast. In the embassy, Lori Bennett waited for him. The young woman sat at her desk, surrounded by half-packed boxes. "So they really did it," she said when William entered. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed anger. "Yes, we have 6 hours to leave." Lori stood up. "This is wrong. We've done nothing to deserve this." William moved to the window. From here, he could see the massive spiral arms of Proxima Station stretching into space. Ships from 17 alien civilizations docked along its edges. Trade, diplomacy, and scientific exchange happened here every day. And now humans would have no part in it. "What are the orders from Earth?" Lori asked. William turned to face her. "You're not leaving." "What?" "Officially, you'll stay to close the embassy. 1 week to pack everything and shut down operations." Lori looked confused. "And unofficially?" William lowered his voice. "Earth intelligence wants eyes and ears here. Something isn't right about this ban. Too many species changed their votes too quickly." "They want me to spy," Lori said. It wasn't a question. "We need to know why this happened. Why 17 species suddenly decided humans are too dangerous to be part of galactic affairs." Lori walked to the window and stood beside him. Below them, alien delegates moved through the station's main plaza. Some looked up at the human embassy and pointed. "They're already celebrating," she said. William placed a hand on her shoulder. "Be careful, Lori. Don't trust anyone. Not even species who seemed friendly before." "What about you? Where will you go?" "Back to Earth. The Navy has new orders for me when I arrive." A soft chime sounded throughout the embassy. The station's AI spoke in its neutral voice. "Attention. Human transport vessel, homebound, will depart in 5 hours. All human personnel must complete evacuation protocols." William moved to his desk and opened a secure drawer. He removed a small black device and handed it to Lori. "Emergency beacon. If things get bad, activate it. Earth still has friends beyond the Council." Lori took the device. "Do you really think they'll move against Earth?" William looked out at the station again. A group of Celthian delegates passed below. Their scaled faces formed into what passed for smiles in their species. "I think this ban is just the beginning," he said. "They want us isolated before they do something worse. Your job is to find out what that is." As William packed his few personal items, he watched Lori begin to remove the Earth flag from the wall. Soon, all traces of humanity would be gone from Proxima Station. But not all humans would be gone. And that might make all the difference. 6 months passed since the ban. On Proxima Station, little remained to show humans had ever been there. The embassy stood empty, its doors sealed. Lori Bennett walked through the merchant district, wearing the plain gray clothes of station maintenance staff. Her human features drew stares, but most aliens quickly looked away. The few humans still allowed on the station were service workers, kept far from important matters. She paused near a food stall, pretending to check her work tablet. In reality, she was recording the conversation at a nearby table. 3 delegates sat there, 2 Celthians and a Medusan representative. "The primitives are still complaining about trade routes," said the larger Xelthian, his scales shimmering with amusement, "as if they deserve access to our technology." The Medusan waved a tentacle dismissively. "Let them keep their tiny corner of space. In time, they'll forget they were ever invited to join us." Laughter rippled between them. Lori kept her face blank as she walked away. This was how it had been for months, open mockery of humans whenever the subject came up. The ban that had once been justified as a safety measure was now treated as a joke among delegates. She entered a maintenance tunnel and checked her recordings. 6 months of eavesdropping had yielded disturbing patterns. The mockery was just a cover. Behind closed doors, species were dividing up territories near Earth, discussing how to limit human expansion, even planning military exercises near human colonies. Her secure comm unit buzzed, the signal that it was time for her weekly check-in. Lori found an empty storage room and activated the encrypted channel. "Bennett reporting," she said quietly. The voice that answered belonged to her Earth intelligence handler. "Status update. Something big is happening," Lori said. "The Celthians just mentioned a meeting in the restricted wing tomorrow. All council species are required to attend. Can you access it?" Lori hesitated, not directly. "But I've made a contact, an Arcturian named Freetal. He's sympathetic to humans, says his species voted against the ban but was overruled. Can you trust him?" "I'm not sure, but he offered to share information from the meeting. Proceed with caution." "What else?" Lori lowered her voice further. "Military vessels are gathering. More than usual. The Xelthians brought 3 warships this week alone." The line went silent for a moment. Then, "We're sending you a data packet. New priority instructions." Lori waited as her device downloaded the encrypted file. When it opened, her eyes widened. "Is this confirmed?" she asked. "Yes. The UES Shadowhawk is en route to Ta City. Commander Reeves found something." Lori had never heard of the Shadowhawk or Commander Reeves, but the mission parameters were clear enough. Earth wasn't just gathering intelligence anymore. They were taking action. On the other side of human space, Commander Ethan Reeves stood on the bridge of the UES Shadowhawk. The stealth vessel hummed quietly as it slipped through the darkness between stars, its hull designed to absorb rather than reflect light and sensor signals. "Status report," Reeves said. Security Chief Daniel Patol looked up from his station. "Stealth systems nominal. No sign of detection." Beside him, Communications Specialist Olivia Dawson removed her headset. "Intercepted transmissions confirm the coordinates, sir. The facility exists exactly where our intelligence suggested." Reeves nodded and studied the display. Somewhere in the Ta City asteroid belt, the Celthians had built a research station, a station that officially didn't exist. "Remind me why we're risking an interstellar incident," said Daniel, his voice low so only Reeves could hear. "Because 17 species decided humanity doesn't deserve a place at their table," Reeves replied. "And I want to know why." Olivia's console beeped softly. "Sir, I'm picking up a transmission from the facility. Sir, they're discussing test subjects." "Human test subjects," Reeves clarified. The bridge fell silent. This was why they had come. Not because of the mockery or the ban, but because humans were disappearing from frontier colonies. And now they knew where some of them had gone. "Prepare boarding equipment," Reeves ordered. "We're going in." The asteroid loomed ahead, its surface pitted and gray. To most scanners, it would appear like any other rock drifting in the Ta City system. But Commander Reeves knew better. Hidden inside that rock was a facility that shouldn't exist. "Final approach," Olivia Dawson said from her station. Her fingers moved across the controls, guiding the Shadowhawk closer. Stealth systems holding. Daniel Patel checked his security readouts. No alert signals detected. They don't know we're here. Reeves studied the sensor display. The asteroid's false exterior concealed complex structures within. Whoever built this place wanted it hidden. Suit up, he ordered. Small team only. Dawson, Patel, you're with me. 30 minutes later, the three officers floated in space near the asteroid's surface. Their stealth suits were black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Each carried minimal equipment: oxygen, communication gear, and small sidearms. There, Reeves pointed to a section of rock that looked slightly different from the rest. Entry point. Daniel moved forward, placing a small device against the rock. The device hummed softly, scanning for security systems. Clear, he said. But there's an airlock behind this panel. Olivia checked her scanner. I'm picking up the control frequency. Give me a minute. Her fingers worked quickly on her wrist computer. After a moment, the rock face slid open, revealing a metal airlock door. We have 5 minutes before their security system runs its next check, she said. They moved inside, sealing the outer door behind them. As air filled the chamber, gravity slowly returned. When the inner door opened, they found themselves in a narrow corridor with dim blue lighting. This way, Reeves whispered, following the map they had constructed from scans. The facility was larger than expected. They passed laboratories with strange equipment, storage rooms filled with supplies, and what looked like living quarters. But no people, alien or human. Where is everyone? Daniel asked. Olivia checked her scanner. I'm detecting life signs 2 levels down. They found a maintenance shaft and climbed down carefully. The lower level had brighter lighting and more activity. They could hear voices now, the clicking speech of Zelthians. Reeves signaled for them to wait in a side corridor. A moment later, 2 Zelthian researchers walked past, discussing something in their native language. What are they saying? Reeves asked once they had passed. Olivia frowned, concentrating. Something about test subjects and adaptation rates. They're pleased with the results. Let's find those test subjects, Reeves said grimly. They moved deeper into the facility, avoiding patrols and security cameras. Finally, they reached a heavy door marked with symbols that Olivia translated as specimen storage. This is it, she said. Daniel bypassed the security lock, and the door slid open. Inside, the room stretched far back into darkness. Glass tubes lined the walls, each filled with clear fluid, and floating in each tube was a human. My God, Olivia whispered. There must be dozens of them. Reeves moved to the nearest tube. Inside floated a man, eyes closed, various tubes and wires connected to his body. A display beside the tube showed vital signs and other data. Are they alive? Daniel asked. Olivia checked the systems. Yes, they're in some kind of suspended animation. Reeves moved to a control station and inserted a data drive. Download everything. We need to know what they're doing here. While Olivia worked on the data, Daniel placed small surveillance devices around the room. These would continue gathering information long after they left. Commander, Olivia said suddenly, this isn't just research. They're testing biological weapons, weapons designed specifically to target humans. Reeves looked at the rows of floating people. Can we free them? Olivia shook her head. Not without setting off every alarm in the facility, and there are too many to transport. Then we get the evidence and come back with a larger team, Reeves decided. As they prepared to leave, Olivia made another discovery. Sir, these files. The Zelthians aren't working alone. They're making these weapons for someone else. Who? The Medusans. Olivia looked up in shock. The same ones who claimed to support human rights in the Council. A distant alarm sounded. We've been detected, Daniel said. Time to go. Reeves took one last look at the humans floating in their tubes. "We'll be back," he promised them silently. Then he led his team toward the exit, the evidence of conspiracy safely stored in Olivia's data drive. Alarms blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed in the corridors as Reeves, Dawson, and Paddle ran toward their exit point. "How much time do we have?" Reeves asked, checking around a corner before moving forward. Daniel consulted his scanner. 2 minutes before they locked down all exits. "We need to move faster." They rounded another corner and froze. 3 Selthian security officers blocked their path, weapons raised. "Halt!" the lead officer commanded in broken English. Daniel reacted first, throwing a smoke device. Dense gray clouds filled the corridor. In the confusion, Reeves led his team down a side passage. "Alternative route," Olivia said, checking her map. Through the ventilation system, they found an access panel and climbed inside. The tight metal tunnels barely fit them as they crawled toward the outer sections of the facility. "I hear them searching," Daniel whispered. Below them, Selthian voices shouted orders. Finally, they reached an exterior vent. Daniel forced it open, and cold space greeted them. One by one, they activated their suit jets and pushed away from the asteroid. "The Shadowhawk is 3 kilometers out," Reeves said. "Stay in stealth mode." They flew silently through space, the asteroid growing smaller behind them. Suddenly, lights flared on its surface. A patrol ship launched, its searchlights sweeping the darkness. "Don't move," Reeves ordered. Their stealth suits would hide them as long as they remained still. The patrol ship passed within 50 meters, its lights briefly washing over them. For a tense minute, they floated motionless. Then the ship turned away, searching in another direction. "Keep moving," Reeves whispered. Slowly. When they finally reached the Shadowhawk, the crew was waiting. The ship departed immediately, its engines quiet, its profile invisible to standard scanners. "We made it," Olivia said, removing her helmet once they were safely inside. Reeves nodded. "Now let's see what we found." Back on Proxima Station, Lori Bennett sat in a corner of the station's public garden. This was her regular meeting spot with Vrital, the Arcturian diplomat. Today, he seemed more nervous than usual. "You shouldn't be here," he said when he arrived. His tall, slender form settled beside her on the bench. "The council meeting yesterday. Things are worse than I thought." Lori kept her expression neutral. "Tell me." Vrital's 4-fingered hand passed her a data crystal. "This contains the meeting transcript. The council is planning action against your outer colonies. They're calling it a containment measure." "That sounds like military action," Lori said. "It is. The Selthians are leading it, but 17 species voted in favor." Lori pocketed the crystal. "Why are you helping me?" "Vrital, your people voted with the others." The Arcturian's skin paled slightly, their version of a sad smile. "My grandmother studied human literature. She taught me your poetry, your music. I cannot believe a species that created such beauty deserves extinction." "Extinction?" Lori's heart raced. "Is that what they're planning?" "Not in those words. But yes, the end result would be the same." As Vrital departed, Lori immediately sent an emergency transmission to Earth Command. This went beyond mockery and politics. It was preparation for war. On Earth, Admiral Paul Winters reviewed the report from the Shadowhawk. The evidence was damning. Biological weapons designed to target human DNA, dozens of abducted colonists used as test subjects, and clear links to the Medusan Collective. "We need to act," said his aide. Winters shook his head. "If we make accusations without proof, we'll look desperate. The Council already portrays us as aggressive and paranoid." "But sir, our colonies." "I know." Winters stared at the holographic display showing human settlements near Ta City. "Contact Commander Reeves. Tell him his crew is officially relieved of duty." The aide looked confused. "Sir, officially relieved. Unofficially, I'm authorizing expanded resources. The Shadowhawk will operate as a civilian vessel from now on. Deniable operations. Understanding dawned on the Eight's face. And their mission. Get incontrovertible evidence, something even the Council can't ignore. Admiral Winters turned back to the display. And prepare a rescue operation for those captives. No human gets left behind in that lab. Meanwhile, Commander Reeves made a call of his own. His old Academy friend, Lisa Harrington, was now a director at the Interstellar Broadcasting Network. "I need your help, Lisa," he said when her face appeared on the screen. "I have a story that needs to be told, even if just parts of it." "What kind of story?" she asked. "The kind that exposes a conspiracy against Earth. The kind that might prevent a war." 2 weeks later, the Shadowhawk looked very different. Its military markings were gone, replaced by civilian identification. The ship's official new name was Free Trader Nomad, registered to a small company on Mars. Commander Reeves, now calling himself Captain Reeves, stood on the bridge as his crew prepared for their next mission. "How does it feel to be officially unemployed?" Olivia asked as she calibrated the communication systems. Reeves smiled slightly. "Strange, but necessary." Their resignations from Earth's Space Navy were public knowledge now. News reports called them disillusioned officers who quit after the Council ban. In reality, they were still following orders, just not ones that could be traced back to Earth Command. "Our new team members are boarding," Daniel announced from security. Reeves nodded. "Bring them to the bridge." 2 new faces soon joined them. Amber Rodriguez walked with the confident stride of a veteran Marine. Her dark hair was cut short, and her eyes missed nothing as she scanned the bridge. "Sergeant Rodriguez," she introduced herself. "Former Mars Defense Force." Beside her stood Greg Walsh, a thin man with quick hands and alert eyes. "Cybersecurity specialist," he said. "I hear you need someone who can crack alien security systems." Reeves welcomed them both. "You've been briefed." "Rescue mission to Taw City," Amber said. "Extract human captives from a research facility." Greg nodded. "And gather evidence of illegal bioweapon development." "That's only part of it," Reeves explained. "The situation has changed. Our intelligence suggests the facility has been expanded. There may be more captives than we initially thought." He activated the holographic display in the center of the bridge. Images from their previous mission appeared: the tubes, the captive humans, the data they had stolen. "The Celthians are preparing something big," Reeves continued. "And we need to know exactly what it is before they launch it against our colonies." On Proxima Station, Lori Bennett faced her own challenges. Security had tightened significantly. More guards patrolled the corridors, and identity checks were more frequent. Her activities were increasingly restricted. "They're watching me," she told Vrital during a brief meeting in a crowded market area. "I think they suspect something." The Arcturian looked worried. "The Celthians have brought in specialists. They're searching for spies." "Have they found anything?" "Not yet, but be careful with the new security scanners. They can detect Earth technology." Lori nodded. She had already hidden her equipment in a secret compartment in her quarters. "What about the Council? Any news?" "An emergency session has been called. 3 days from now." "Vreed." Tall lowered his voice further. "They will vote on the final sanctions against Earth. After that, military action is authorized." 3 days isn't enough time," Lori said, thinking of Reeves and his mission. "There's more," Vrital added. "The Medusan ambassador has requested private security for the session. They're nervous about something." This caught Lori's attention. "They're afraid their secret might come out." "Perhaps, but without proof, no one will listen." Vrital stood to leave. "I must go. My absence will be noticed." As he walked away, Lori received an encrypted message on her hidden communicator. It was from Earth Command. "Prepare for diplomatic opportunity. Shadowhawk en route to target. Evidence expected within 48 hours. 2 days, it would be cutting it close." Back on the Shadowhawk, final preparations were underway. The ship's cargo hold had been converted into a medical bay, ready to receive rescued captives. Weapons were distributed, non-lethal when possible, but the team had no illusions about what they might face. "We'll approach under full stealth," Reeves told them during the final briefing. "Rodriguez and Patol will secure our exit route. Dawson and Walsh will access their systems and gather evidence. I'll coordinate the rescue operation." "And if things go wrong?" Amber asked. Reeves met her gaze steadily. "Primary objective is the evidence. We need proof of what they're doing, even if we can't save everyone." Greg studied the facility schematics. "Their security has likely been upgraded since your last visit." "That's why you're here," Reeves said. "We need someone who can adapt to alien systems." As the ship prepared to jump to Ta City, Reeves sent one final message to Admiral Winters. "Operation underway. If successful, evidence will reach Proxima Station before Council vote. If not, prepare Earth defenses." The message sent, Reeves joined his crew on the bridge. "Take us in," he ordered. The stars outside blurred as the ship entered jump space, carrying them toward a mission that could save humanity, or start a war. The asteroid facility looked different this time. New structures had been added to its surface, and security patrols circled regularly. The Shadowhawk remained hidden behind a smaller asteroid, its systems running silent as the team prepared. "Count at least 6 patrol ships," Daniel reported. "Much heavier security than before." Reeves studied the sensor data. "They know we might come back." "I've identified a maintenance airlock on the far side," Olivia said. "Less security there." Greg examined the facility's communication signals. "Their internal systems have been upgraded, but I can still access them. They're using standard Celthian protocols." "Then that's our entry point," Reeves decided. "Everyone clear on the mission?" They all nodded. 20 minutes later, the team approached the facility in their stealth suits. This time, Amber joined them while Greg remained on the ship to provide technical support remotely. "Security patrol approaching," Greg's voice warned through their comms. "Hold position." They froze, floating motionless as a patrol ship passed nearby. Once it was gone, they continued to the maintenance airlock. "I'm in their system," Greg said, "deactivating security on that airlock." Now, the airlock opened silently. Once inside, the team moved quickly through maintenance tunnels, following the route Greg had mapped for them. "Life signs detected 1 level down," Olivia whispered, checking her scanner. "Lots of them." They found an access shaft and descended. What they discovered shocked even Reeves. The small holding area they had seen before had been expanded into a vast chamber. Glass tubes lined the walls, each containing a suspended human. There were at least 30 captives now. "My God," Amber whispered. "There are more than we expected." Reeves assessed the situation grimly. "We can't evacuate them all. Not with our current resources." "What do we do?" Olivia asked. "The mission remains the same," Reeves replied. "We gather evidence first, then return with a larger extraction team." Daniel pointed to a secure door at the far end of the chamber. "What's in there?" Olivia consulted her scanner. "That's where the research data is stored. Everything we need to prove what they're doing." "Walsh," Reeves called over the comm. "Can you get us through that door?" "Working on it," Greg replied from the ship. "Their security is complex. Give me a few minutes." While they waited, Amber moved closer to one of the tubes, studying the human inside. "This one's just a kid," she said softly. "Maybe 16. Olivia joined her. "Colony markings on her uniform. She's from New Haven. The colony that reported 20 missing people last month," Daniel added. The secure door slid open with a soft hiss. "You're in," Greg announced. "But hurry. I can only keep their security offline for 15 minutes. Inside, they found a large research lab. Holographic displays showed human DNA sequences being manipulated. Storage units contained vials of colored liquids. "Start downloading everything," Reeves ordered. Olivia connected her data drive to the main system and began the transfer. This is it. Bioweapons designed specifically for humans. They've been testing different strains on the captives. Daniel placed surveillance devices around the lab while Amber secured the entrance. Reeves examined the research notes that Olivia was translating. "Wait," he said suddenly. "These aren't Celthian notes." Olivia looked closer. "You're right. The language structure. It's Medusan." Greg's voice came through their comms, urgent now. "I found something in their secure transmissions. The Celthians aren't in charge. They're working for the Medusans. The same Medusans who speak for human rights in the Council." Amber asked. "Exactly," Reeves confirmed. "This goes higher than we thought." "Download at 70%, Olivia reported. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed in the corridors. "What happened?" Reeves demanded. "We've been detected," Greg replied, his voice tense. "Someone accessed the system from inside the facility. They know you're there. How long until the download completes?" Reeves asked Olivia. 3 more minutes." "Too long," Daniel said. "Security teams are already moving toward us. I can see them on the sensors." Reeves made a quick decision. "Olivia, continue the download. Daniel, set up defensive positions. Amber, prepare for evacuation." "What about you?" Olivia asked. "I'll help Greg finish accessing their command logs. We need to know who ordered this operation." As Daniel and Amber moved to secure their position, the sound of approaching Celthian security forces echoed through the corridors. The mission had just become a fight for survival. The sound of weapons fire echoed through the facility. Daniel had positioned himself at the main entrance to the lab, using storage containers as cover. Amber took the secondary exit, her military training evident in her calm precision. "How much longer?" Daniel called over his shoulder. "Almost there," Olivia replied, eyes fixed on the data transfer. 95%. Reeves worked alongside Greg through their comm link, breaking into the facility's command logs. "I found something," Reeves said. "Orders signed by council members. 3 species knew about this place." "Which ones?" Olivia asked. "Medusans, Celthians, and the Aldebaran Alliance." This was shocking news. The Aldebarans had been neutral in most council matters. Their involvement suggested the conspiracy reached further than they had imagined. "Download complete," Olivia announced, removing her data drive. A blast shook the door where Daniel was positioned. "We need to move," he shouted. "Set the charges," Reeves ordered. They had brought small explosive devices to destroy key equipment. "We can't let them continue these experiments." As Amber placed charges around the lab, Reeves made a difficult decision. "We can't save all the captives, but maybe we can help a few." He moved to the control panel for the suspension tubes. "Olivia, which ones have been here the shortest time?" Olivia checked the data. "Tubes 12, 17, and 23. They arrived last week." "Mark those for emergency release on our way out," Reeves said. "We'll take them with us." Another blast hit the door, stronger this time. Daniel was forced back from his position. "They're breaking through," he warned. "Charges set," Amber reported. "Everyone to the secondary exit," Reeves ordered. They moved quickly, Olivia pausing to activate the release sequence for the 3 selected tubes. As they reached the secondary exit, Reeves was struck by weapons fire. He fell against the wall, clutching his side. "Commander." Daniel rushed to help him. "I'm okay," Reeves insisted, though blood seeped between his fingers. "Keep moving." They fought their way through the corridor, Amber leading with Daniel supporting Reeves. Olivia followed, guarding the precious data drive. When they reached the holding chamber, the 3 marked tubes were already draining. The humans inside began to stir as the suspension fluid receded. "Wake up," Amber urged, opening the first tube. A young woman fell forward, coughing and disoriented. Daniel helped a middle-aged man from the second tube, while Olivia attended to an older woman in the third. None of them could walk properly after their time in suspension. "We'll have to carry them," Reeves said, his voice strained from his injury. The sounds of pursuit grew louder. Zelfian security forces would reach them within minutes. Charges detonating in 30 seconds, Amber warned. They hurried toward the maintenance shaft, each team member supporting or carrying a rescued captive. Just as they reached it, the lab exploded behind them. The blast shook the entire facility, buying them precious time. The journey to the airlock was slow and difficult. Reeves's injury worsened, and the rescued humans were barely conscious. When they finally reached the airlock, Gray had the Shadowhawk waiting nearby. "Patrol ships incoming," Greg warned through the comms. "You have 2 minutes before they cut off your escape route." One by one, they exited into space, activating their suit jets. The 3 rescued humans wore emergency spacesuits from the team's supplies. As they pushed away from the facility, Selfian patrol ships appeared around the asteroid. Searchlights swept through space, looking for them. "Stay close to the asteroid surface," Reeves instructed, his voice weak. "Use the craters for cover." They moved slowly, painfully aware that their bright jets could give them away. Olivia took the lead, as Reeves struggled to maintain consciousness. "The commander's losing blood," Daniel reported quietly to Greg. "And these civilians can barely move. We're not going to make it to the ship in time." "Yes, you will," Olivia said firmly. Taking command was not something she had expected, but with Reeves injured, the responsibility fell to her. "Greg, bring the Shadowhawk to the far side of the small moon. We'll meet you there." "That's dangerously close to their patrols," Greg protested. "Do it," Olivia ordered, "and prepare for immediate jump once we're aboard." As they moved through the darkness of space, 3 Selfian pursuit vessels began a systematic search pattern. The race to escape had begun, with the evidence that could save humanity clutched tightly in Olivia's hand. The Shadowhawk raced through space, 3 Selfian pursuit ships close behind. Inside the medical bay, Daniel worked to stabilize Commander Reeves, while Amber tended to the rescued captives. "They're gaining on us," Greg called from the bridge. "Our civilian engines can't outrun military vessels." Olivia, now in command, studied the navigation display. "Plot a course through Saturn's rings. The ice and debris will give us cover." "That's incredibly dangerous," Greg protested. "So is getting caught," Olivia replied. "Do it." The ship changed course, heading deeper into the Sol system. Behind them, the Selfian ships adjusted to follow. On Proxima Station, Lori Bennett received an urgent message. The Shadowhawk had recovered evidence but was being pursued. They might not make it back in time for the council vote, now less than 24 hours away. Lori made a decision. She contacted Vrital using their secure channel. "I need your help. It's time to take a stand." "What do you need?" the Arcturian asked. "Delay the vote, just for a few hours." Vrital hesitated. "That would expose me as sympathetic to humans." "Yes," Lori acknowledged. "But without this delay, billions of humans might die." After a long pause, Vrital nodded. "I'll do what I can." The next day, council members gathered for the emergency session. The Selfian ambassador took the central podium, his scales gleaming under the chamber lights. "Honored representatives," he began. "Today we finalize our response to the human problem. The resolution before you authorizes immediate military action against Earth's outer colonies." Murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. Most species had already decided to support the measure. "Before we vote," the Selfian continued, "I wish to address rumors of human aggression near Ta City. A research facility was attacked 2 days ago by human terrorists." More murmurs now concerned. The Medusan ambassador waved a tentacle for attention. "This proves what we have said all along. Humans are too dangerous to be allowed free movement in our shared space." Vrital stood, using his status as an elder diplomat. "According to council rules, such a serious accusation requires investigation before we can vote on punitive measures." "Investigation." The Selfian ambassador's voice rose. While humans prepare to attack us, we must act now. The rules exist for a reason. Vrital insisted. I move for a 12-hour delay to gather facts. Before anyone could vote on this motion, the chamber doors slid open. Laurie Bennett walked in, flanked by Commander Reeves and Olivia Dawson. Reeves moved slowly, still recovering from his wound. This human has no right to be here, the Celthian ambassador shouted. Actually, she does, Vrital said. As the remaining human representative, she has the right to respond to accusations against her species. The chamber erupted in argument. Finally, the Chancellor called for order. We will hear what the humans have to say, then vote immediately. Laurie stepped forward. I won't waste your time with words. Instead, I'll show you the truth. She nodded to Olivia, who activated a holographic projector. Immediately, images filled the center of the chamber. The footage showed humans floating in suspension tubes. It showed Celthian and Medusan scientists performing experiments on conscious humans. It showed communications between high-ranking officials planning the human containment solution. Most disturbing was thermal imaging of hidden Medusan weapons platforms already positioned near Earth's colonies ready to attack. The chamber fell completely silent. When the footage ended, Laurie spoke again. We don't ask to rejoin your council. We don't seek punishment for these crimes. All we ask is that you remember this moment, when you realized what happens when you underestimate humanity. The Celthian ambassador tried to speak, but no words came out. The ban on humans can remain, Reeves added, his voice steady despite his pain. But so will we. Greg Walsh, monitoring from outside, sent one final piece of evidence to every delegate's personal device. Coordinates for 32 more secret research facilities throughout Council space, and a list of every species involved in the conspiracy. 7 previously neutral species rose from their seats, moving to stand near the humans. The balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted. As Laurie, Reeves, and Olivia turned to leave, the Medusan ambassador hissed, "This proves nothing." Olivia looked back at him calmly. "It proves everything. It proves you should never have mocked the ban on humans." The door closed behind them, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence.